Councilmember Barosa de Padilla, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This evening, Council is grateful to have Imam Adulabe here from the Masa Hajri Laleli Mosque to pray with us. Thank you. Welcome.
الحمد لله رب العالمين الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين المبعوث رحمة للعالمين أيها الحضور وأيها الحاضرات أتشرف بتوجيه هذه الكلمات المعجزات من عمق قلب الخالصة لكم بالود والأمن والسعادة والتقدير إلى سيادتكم السامية العالية وأن تستمعوا بأقوال هذا وأنتم ترفلون على أثواب الصحة والهناء وعلى حضراتكم الميمونة وشكرا لكم. إخوة الكرام، هذه المناسبة مناسبة إسلامية شاملة لإحياء وتحقيق وتثبيت لحقوق الإنسان في أي مكان أيما كانوا، ولا سيما في جمهورية الموريتانية. ونشكر أهل وإخوة الموريتانيون الذين بذلوا جهدهم بتحقيق هذا اليوم العظيم في الإسلام وفي المجتمع، وشكرا لكم. أيها السادة الكرام، لا يقال كله ولا يترك كله، ولكن لا يفوتنا نحن جميعا في هذه اليوم العظيم الكريم عندنا في هذه المناسبة السعيدة لحقوق الإنسان إلا أن نوجه شكرا كبير واحترامنا البالغ إلى الحكومة الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية عن هذا العمل الجباري. وكل منا يعرف أن بلد الأمريكية بلدة غنية عن التعريف، بلدة محترمة لحقوق الإنسان، بلدة جعل لكل إنسان في مكانته، بلدة واسعة ووسعت لكل إنسان في مجالته، بلدة صادقة لا تحب الكذب إلا الصدق، بلدة بنت لولاياتها على الصدق والعمل والعلم، بلدة ومن دخلها كان آمنا، بلدة استقبل لكل أجيال من مشارق الأرض ومغاربها بدون تمييز، بلدة استقبل أهل الموريتانيين في هذا المجال. ونرفع أيدينا إلى الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يحفظ أمريكا وأن يعز أمريكا وأن يسعد أمريكا وأن يجعل الله البركة والأمن والأمانة والسعادة والاستقرار والهدوء في الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية. وما ذلك الله بعزيز. هذا أخوكم وصديقكم وحميمكم وإمامكم شيرنا عبد الله شيرنا أحمد با هو رفوني مسقطا ومولدا وفي أمريكا حاليا موطنا. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله. عفى الله عما سلف ومن عاد. صدق الله العظيم.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bankston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, favor Remy, President Harden. Any person who takes any actions to obstruct or interfere with the conduct of tonight's meeting may be charged with disturbing a lawful meeting pursuant to Columbus City Code 2317.12. Any person who enters those areas of City Council chambers reserved for city officials or invited guests may be charged with criminal trespass pursuant to Columbus City Code 2311.21.
Can I get a motion to dispense with the reading of the journal? Clerk, please call the roll.
Bankston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, favor Remy, President Harden.
Are there any additions or corrections to the journal? Hearing none, the journal is approved. This week's communications received by the City Clerk's office are listed on the agenda and will be published in the City Bulletin. Are there any other communications to be read into the record?
Not at this time.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Actually, Madam Clerk, I hear it's your birthday.
That it is.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.
Are there any resolutions or announcements by council members, starting with Councilmember Bankston?
Thank you, President Harden. Just one announcement and one resolution this evening. First, just like to announce that tomorrow we will be holding a press conference tomorrow at 10 a.m. to announce the next phase of the Downtown Ground Floor Growth Initiative. Just as a refresher, the Ground Floor Growth Initiative is an initiative spearheaded by my office that aims to diversify and strengthen our downtown retail environment by ensuring that small, Black, minority, and women-owned businesses enter prime first-floor retail spaces in the heart of our city in downtown through a robust package of wraparound supports and financial assistance. The press conference may be viewed via the city's YouTube page and council's Facebook page. So please tune in tomorrow to hear more on some exciting new updates about the program. And again, as we continue to ensure that downtown's resurgence comes back, we want to make sure that that resurgence looks like the beautiful diversity of our city. So really excited about that initiative. Next, I want to invite up Kenny Hampton and Romani Hunter to the podium as I introduce Resolution 0209X-2023. This is to recognize and celebrate the 10-year anniversary of Kingdom Image Arts. Kingdom Image Arts is a local nonprofit organization that is committed to empowering all generations through inspirational arts, performances, education, and influential programming that seeks to contribute to personal wellness, economic impact, and social change. This year, Kingdom Image Arts is celebrating their 10-year anniversary. And over the last 10 years, the Kingdom Image Arts has been a resource to the community by connecting residents to the arts and helping them identify how the arts impact our daily lives. The other thing that many of you may know about or have heard about is the Kingdom Image Awards. And so one to celebrate anything for 10 years. But also it is important to highlight, council members, that the Kingdom Image Awards is the largest independent award show in the country. And it takes place right here in Columbus, Ohio, where we celebrate not the national acts and all of those, but we celebrate those independent artists, in particular gospel independent artists. And so excited about the 10-year anniversary of the award show, but more importantly, excited to celebrate Kingdom Image Arts and all of the work that they do with all of their programs. So I want to turn the floor over to Board Chair Kenny Hampton and Executive Director Romani Hunter for comments on this momentous occasion and milestone.
Good evening, Council. Thank you so much, Councilmember Bankston. This is truly an exciting week for Kingdom Image Arts. The work that has been led by Executive Director Romani Hunter is fully on display this week. It has grown to become, as you mentioned, one of the largest independent awards show or award ceremony here that takes place in the United States, right here in Columbus, Ohio. And on behalf of the entire board, we can't thank and celebrate Executive Director Hunter enough for the work that she is doing week in and week out with her incredible staff that is pouring into our community in this space where we're transforming and we're changing lives literally through the expression of arts. So we can't thank her enough for the work that she's doing and cannot wait to celebrate this week.
Thank you, Board Chair, and thank you, Council Member Bankston and the Council. As it has been articulated, we are the largest independent awards production. We celebrate 20 categories with over 80 nominees. We have three actually honorees where we'll be honoring Bishop Ronald Logan for his musical legacy. We'll be honoring Mr. Yavez Ellis for his community leadership. And then for our inaugural Faith Trailblazer honoree, we are honoring Senator Michelle Williams for their work that they're doing in the community. I'm pleased to share also that at the end of this year, we will be moving into an exclusive space at 2501 where we can continue to expand the work that we're doing with our 5 programs. The 5 programs are the Live Performance Series, the Common Ground, the Kingdom Kids Program, the Entrepreneur Development Program, and then the Kingdom Image Awards held annually in the fall. We're so excited. Thank you again for this honor, and we continue to work with you.
Thank you. And again, 10 years is to be celebrated. Now, I'm a good Baptist boy, so I'm looking forward. And Council President, they got James Fortune coming this year, so I know, you better put on your shouting shoes if you're coming. Now, we're going to do the awards, we're going to dress up nice, but
Yes.
I'm still gonna misbehave if that's okay.
Yes.
But no, again, just want to congratulate you all. Really excited about the work that you all do. And with that, I'll pause if there's any questions or comments from my colleagues. Seeing none, I move for adoption.
I would also like to introduce our
Absolutely.
staff member, Mr. Joe Nathan Banks, who leads our marketing and media.
Yeah, absolutely.
you.
And he's the face of it.
Yes,
I'd say,
he is.
on the red carpet.
Yes, he is.
Did I hear any comments from? Oh, sorry.
Awesome. Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, favor, Remy. President Harden.
Adopted.
Thank you. And that is all I have this evening, Council President.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Barosa de Padilla.
Nothing for me this evening, thank you.
Really? Awesome. Councilmember Brown. Nothing this evening, sir. All right. President Pro Tem.
Nothing for me.
All right. Councilmember Favor.
Thank you, Council President Harden. Tonight I have two resolutions to present. The first one, 0206-2023, to recognize Mary Haven for its efforts in addressing mental illness and addiction disorders within Columbus. It is now my honor if I'd have the amazing staff and board members from Mary Haven to approach the podium. Mary Haven, or Mary's Haven, as it was originally named, was founded 70 years ago as a service of the Sisters of the Good Shepherd by the request of the Diocese of Columbus to ensure women struggling with alcohol addictions could receive the necessary treatments. Since its founding in 1953, Mary Haven has grown to become Central Ohio's largest and most comprehensive behavioral health services provider, specializing in addiction recovery, and has served more than 300,000 men, women, and adolescents since 1953. Due to its life-saving services, Mary Haven has been an integral part of this community as it strives every day to bring hope, innovation, and compassion to people struggling with mental illness and addiction disorders. Mary Haven will continue to uplift our community from its Columbus campuses and regional clinics while providing a comprehensive treatment for patients at all stages of recovery. With that being said, I'd now like to turn it over to Mr. Oyama Garrison and Boomer Schmidt.
Well, first and foremost, thank you, Councilmember Favor. Thank you again, President Harden and the entire Council. It is an absolute honor and privilege to be here with you this evening. Again, my name is Oyama Garrison, and I truly have the honor and privilege of serving as the President and CEO for Mary Haven. And as you've heard, we have been in business since 1953. That is 70 years of service and impact, over 330,000 people served, 350 employees, and we are grateful to be able to continue to provide love, passion, and healing for a number of community members. And let me just share, when Mary Haven started back in 1953 by the Sisters of Good Shepherd, it was on a very radical and emerging notion, which is to provide a place of refuge for women who were battling alcoholism back in the 1950s, which was a very radical notion. And on top of that, to house African-American women at the exact same time. And we had the privilege of having one of those founding members of that particular order join us at our gala this past couple of weeks ago. And she shared the plight and the challenges that they face. And I couldn't be more honored than to stand here this evening to share how many people have come through the halls and walls, if you will, in the spaces at Mary Haven to regain their lives and put themselves on a pathway of success and to establish new legacies. Mary Haven has one of the very few in the entire Midwest diversion programs that allow for those who are unhoused, instead of going to be incarcerated, to come and receive treatment from us and avoid the judicial system, which is an incredible, incredible feat. And the city of Pittsburgh has come in to examine our model to figure out how they can replicate this. We also have a very new program that we've been offering called the Residence at Mary Haven, which has a 100% success rate of helping men who have been battling alcoholism, narcotics, and/or mental health get their lives back on track, avoid the relapse, and at the same time find employment and/or education. 100% success rate. And so that couldn't be done without this incredible, passionate team, and certainly our incredible board members who help us from a strategy perspective. And I'd like to at least invite up one of those board members, Shelley, just to say a couple of words.
Good evening, Council, and thank you for the recognition tonight. We are excited, and we look forward to another 70 years of restoring lives and legacies in our region.
Well, thank you all so much for being here. And Shelley, I was just so impressed by your level of commitment to this amazing organization that does God's work in our community. How long have you been on the board?
I'm of the COVID class, 3 years.
As long as we can keep people that are so committed to the work and to the service, it's quite an honor to meet you today. And then just to the staff, thank you for the work that you do every single day. If you have not had the opportunity to tour the facility, it is filled with dynamic individuals that meet people exactly where they are. And that is the type of care that we need in Columbus to ensure that we keep lifting one another up. So thank you for the work that you do every single day. Are there any comments by my colleagues or questions? Yes, Councilmember Bankston.
Yeah, I just wanted to say congratulations and just reiterate the work that's happening. It's necessary work. Many of you have heard my story and know that I am proud of a warrior who faces addiction. She battles that every single day, but proud to say that at the top of the year, she'll be celebrating 6 years clean. And it is because of organizations, specifically Mary Haven, that was there for her throughout that entire journey. We know that relapse is a part of the recovery journey. And never once did they turn their back on her. Never once did they judge her, but they welcomed her with open arms. And so for you all to be doing that for 70 years, so excited that you're going to be doing it for 70 more, because unfortunately, the service and the demand is continuing to rise. But really excited to know that we have a dedicated staff, dedicated board that don't only see this as simply patients, but see these as people of our community. So thank you and congratulations on 70 years.
Absolutely. Thank you, Councilmember Bankston. I'd love to see you all go out of business, but until that day comes, thank you for the work that you continue to do. With that, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, favor, Remy, President Harden.
Adopted.
All right, if I could have the Walker family meet us at the podium to present Resolution 0208-2023 to celebrate the centenary of Ann B. Walker and honor her legacy of achievements. So let me begin by saying, and friends and family are welcome to come if they want to join on this momentous occasion. Let me begin by saying that Miss Ann B. Walker represents the best of Columbus. She is hardworking, resilient, and an innovator, a role model for all of us to look up toward. Ms. Walker, a Columbus native, graduated from East High School and later received her bachelor's degree from George Williams College. In 1949, Ms. Walker began what would become a historic career in journalism when she became an editor and columnist for the Ohio Sentinel, one of Columbus's first Black-owned newspapers, as an editor and columnist. Throughout her career, Ms. Walker interviewed a host of notable individuals, including Angela Davis, Martin Luther King Jr., and President Jimmy Carter, and made history as the first female in broadcast management at WLWC-TV and broadcaster to report on the Ohio legislature. Her quality of work eventually led Ms. Walker to be appointed as media director of the Community Services Agency with Jimmy Carter's presidential administration, becoming the first Black woman from Franklin County to receive a White House appointment. However, her public service did not end at the White House. Throughout her lifetime, Ms. Walker has been affiliated with a number of local organizations, serving on the boards of the Columbus Area Leadership Laboratory, Columbus Planned Parenthood, Columbus Metropolitan Club, the Leukemia Society, and the Columbus Zoo and Aquarium, becoming the first Black woman to do so. Her legacy and service to the community has helped shape the city to what it is today, and the city remains grateful for her leadership and her courage. It's now my honor to introduce Ms. Ann B. Walker.
Are you sure you're talking about me?
Yes, ma'am.
You know, this uppity woman has often had to break ceilings, shatter the ceilings to make sure that opportunities existed. And I had pleasure doing so. I feel that one of the reasons I have been so successful is because I live by the D's. You're shaking your head, but do you know what the D's are? I live by the D's, and I listen to the G's. The D's are do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And the G's are listen to God. He will direct your path. So I'll see you next year, November 1st, All Saints Day, and the next year after that. Thank you so much.
Well, before I say anything else, let me open it up to any of my colleagues if they'd like to say it. Councilmember Remy.
Well, what an auspicious day to be able to celebrate your youth. It's been a pleasure for me to know you over the years, and remember sitting in the old Martin Luther King Library during a community discussion where you sat there and you said, "Now here comes the cold water," and I'll never forget that quote, but you speak the truth. And that's what we always love and adore about you. And certainly your contributions to this city have been far and great. And I just texted Nana Watson, made sure she tuned in because I know that you're her mentor. So we appreciate all that you've done and wish you the happiest of birthdays and cannot wait for your celebration, but also can't wait till next year as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, Council President Harden.
Thank you, Councilmember Favor, for bringing this resolution and bringing one of my favorite people that I know back to council chambers. The truth is, some of those glass ceilings that you broke were right here in City Hall, holding folks accountable right here in this building. And as you said, in doing so, created space for so many of us to more freely represent the residents of Columbus. You know, celebrating 100 years is amazing. We usually, I believe that though, quantity of life isn't just the thing that you celebrate, it's the quality of what you do during that life. And today we get to celebrate quantity and quality. That with the years that God has blessed you with, that you have poured into not just this community, but this country and the world. Because I know Mrs. Walker as Queen Mother, because she's not just celebrated here in the United States, but she's celebrated in Ghana as well as a Queen Mother. It will always be an honor to me to know that I got to be around when there were giants walking amongst us, and Ann B. Walker is certainly one of those giants. And just we're so excited to celebrate you today, tomorrow, and always. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
So I heard there's a birthday party? Now, regular folks just have it at like a regular venue, but you all are having it at I believe it's the #1 science center in the country?
I'm coming.
I'm coming as well. I'm coming as well. Ms. Walker, now you have amazing friends and family with you. Who has joined you today?
You know what? I used to cover news coming in out of council, and it's interesting to note that there's been no change. Physically, you know, from the I don't mean in terms of individuals, of course, but it was, as I stand here, I think about how many times I was rushing to get here on time to make sure that I had the agenda. And just now, I didn't have it and had to ask the photographer to look at his. But seriously, I'll see you next year.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
that's
November
right.
He will.
1st.
And your amazing daughter is giving me the flag, who is also a pillar.
Also at the end, Thomas Sherwood.
Oh, Miss Walker,
friend.
you can grab the mic. Mhm.
Thomas Sherwood on the end, old family friend. Willis Brown, old family friend. Sue Cooper, old family friend. Fran Long, and Sandra Brenton, Jackie Conley, old family friend. Now, Gabrielle is the great-granddaughter.
Wow.
And so she'll be speaking tomorrow, and daughter. So. And she just came, Gabrielle just came in from Georgia. She's a senior in college and graduates in December.
Congratulations.
Well, happy early graduation. Ms. Walker, happy 100 years. Here's to another 100 more. If anybody's going to do it, it's going to be you.
I'm sorry, I forgot David with the photographer, because he's also with us as a family friend.
Thank you also for being here. With that, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, favor, Remy, President Harden.
Happy birthday.
Now, Council President, I was going to sing happy birthday,
I was
but
waiting for it.
that's all for me.
Councilmember Remy.
Thank you very much, Council President. I just want to remind everybody that tomorrow night is Trick or Treat in the city of Columbus from 6 to 8 p.m. It looks like we will have a chilly yet very dry Halloween. So from 6 to 8, watch out for those youngsters out on the road. Be safe out there. And we want to wish everybody a very happy Halloween. That's all I have this evening.
Thank you, Councilmember. And I have one resolution. I'm going to invite my friend, Mr. Jed Morrison, to the front. As Mr. Morrison's coming to the front, I want to introduce Resolution 0203X-2023. Is to recognize Jed Morrison and congratulate him on his retirement from the Franklin County Board of Developmental Disabilities. Jed has dedicated his career to public service dating back to the 1960s. Along the way, he has served at the Columbus Development Center, the Ohio Special Olympics, and most recently at the Franklin County Board of Developmental Disabilities. There is a lot of stigma around mental health and developmental disabilities, but Jed has helped to see through that. He recognizes the humanity of each and every person who calls Franklin County home. Under his leadership, the board has expanded and reached more people, offering support ranging from housing assistance to career development to community building. Recently, Jed announced his well-deserved retirement. We are going to miss you miss you so much. And Jed, I think, how many years have you, you're retiring after how many years of serving this community?
54.
54 years serving the residents of Franklin County. I too am grateful to call you a friend. You have been a personal mentor of mine, and the work that you have done looking out for folks who need and always don't have advocates the way that you have has been something that I've always admired you for, grateful for, and you have earned your next. Whatever that may be, you have earned it. You have earned it. I will turn it over to you before I pass this resolution. Congratulations, my friend.
Well, thank you very much. First of all, it's an honor to be here with Mrs. Walker, and I feel honored to be in the same building with her. And I appreciate the recognition, President Harden and others. I have thoroughly enjoyed it. Columbus is a wonderful place, very accepting and supportive of individuals with disabilities. We certainly appreciate that, and I know this council has been supportive, and we are very, very appreciative of that and expect that will continue for many years. So appreciate the recognition. It's been an honor and a pleasure.
What comes next?
Thank you.
What comes next, Mr. Morrison?
We'll see.
Hopefully a
We'll
vacation.
see.
Hopefully a vacation.
Yep.
Do my colleagues have any comments? Hearing none, I move for passage. Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, favor Remy, President Harden.
Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you very much.
sir.
Thank you.
Are there any comments by our elected officials? Hearing none, are there any requests by members of council for the removal of an ordinance from the consent portion of the agenda? Seeing none, may we now have a motion to waive reading of titles of third-day legislation by the city clerk? Is there a second? Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, favor Remy, President Harden.
Thank you. Will the clerk now read into the record of the ordinance numbers of 30-day legislation on tonight's agenda for first reading?
Economic Development Committee ordinances 2867, 2927, 2929-2023. Technology Committee ordinances 2740, 2747, 2921-2023. Public Service and Transportation Committee ordinances 2840, 2857, 2858, 2863-2023. Public Utilities Committee ordinances 2333, 2491, 2622, 2704, 2722, 2771, 2853, 2871-2023. Housing Committee ordinances 2758, 2841, 2845, 2868, 2875, 2877-2023. Health and Human Services Committee ordinance 2836-2023. Public Safety Committee ordinance 2859-2023. Finance Committee ordinances 2741 and 2796-2023. Zoning Committee ordinances 2967, 2972, 2975, 2968, and 2988-2023.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We don't have any speakers on first reading, so the following ordinances appear on our agenda as consent actions. Will the clerk now read those into the record?
Resolutions 212X, 207X, 205X, 201X, 202X, 210X, 211X-2023. Economic Development Committee, ordinance 2775-2023. Technology Committee, ordinances 2445, 2832, 2917-2023. Public Service and Transportation Committee, ordinances 2735, 2748, 2761, 2786, 2787, 2791, 2792, 2815, 2887-2023. Neighborhoods and Immigrant, Refugee, and Migrant Affairs Committee, ordinances 3016 and 3018-2023. Recreation and Parks Committee, ordinances 2465, 2466, 2467, 2560, 2564, 2777, 2797, 2798, 2828-2023. Public Utilities Committee, ordinances 2606, 2661, 2673, 2702, 2714, 2724, 2767-2023. Housing Committee, ordinances 2539, 2542, 2692, 2778, 2790, 2820, 2883, 2894, 2895-2023. Health and Human Services Committee, ordinances 2511, 2782, 2813, 2835, 3009-2023. Public Safety Committee, ordinances 2709 and 2710-2023. Finance Committee, Resolution 196X-2023, and ordinances 2495, 2803, 2817, and 2846-2023.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We have one speaker on the consent portion of the agenda, Mr. Hanif Mohammed. I don't see Mr. Mohammed here yet. Let the record reflect that we called for Mr. Mohammed, and if he gets here later, we'll allow him to speak at non-agenda. Are there any other questions or comments on the consent portion of the agenda? Hearing none, may I have a motion for approval of these items as needed consent? Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, favor Remy, President Harden.
Consent agenda is passed Now we'll proceed with the second reading of 30-day postponed and emergency legislation. The first committee to come before council is Public Service and Transportation, chaired by Councilmember Barosa de Padilla. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Sorry. Thank you, President Harden. I have 4 ordinances today in public service. The first is 2797, 2023, to authorize the city clerk to enter into a grant agreement with, I'm sorry. Let me go back. My bad. Starting with public service. 2757, 2023, to amend the 2023 capital improvement budget to authorize the transfer of funds and appropriation within the Streets and Highways Bond Fund, to authorize the Director of Public Service to enter into contract with Complete General Construction for the miscellaneous economic development Astro Park Streetscape Phase 1 project, to authorize the expenditure of up to $2,614,337.98 from the Streets and Highways Bond Fund for the project, and to declare an emergency. So this project will install streetscape improvements along the north side of Nationwide Boulevard, east side of Neilden Drive, and south side of Nordic Drive, and west side of Columbus Crew Way, that will coincide with private development on the adjacent parcels. I believe that we have a picture. So these improvements are along the development that goes along lower.com field. The improvements made will be buff wash concrete sidewalks with brick street lawns, street trees and planters, and great streetscape amenities and irrigation. These enhancements will create a more accessible urban environment benefiting both residents and visitors. Improved streetscapes can enhance walkability, support local business, and create a more inviting environment for residents and visitors alike. So I'd like to hand it over to Assistant Director Wenzel. Can you tell us a little bit more about the project and the development around the Crew Stadium, please?
Yeah, thank you, Councilmember Barosa de Padilla. It's already gone, but it was the yellow portion of the picture there. This contract to develop the streetscape improvements around lower.com field. There will actually be a next phase of that project, which will be the green line, where there will be also similar streetscape improvements that will take place along the parking garage that's there. That's actually a public service parking garage. So those are all streetscape improvements for those 2 final phases of that project.
Awesome. And I just wanted to point out, this is part of the larger development of the area that we are developing, where it did not look like this at one time, but this will allow for further development to come into the area, so allowing for streets and, again, walkability, et cetera, for more development that is coming in. And this is just the beginning of phase, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Great.
There is a lot of private development that's going on around the area also. So
Perfect. Do my colleagues have any questions or comments? Great. Seeing none, I move for passage.
Second.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, favor Remy, President Harden.
Pass.
Thank you. Next ordinance is 2847, 2023, to amend the 2023 capital improvement budget to authorize the transfer of funds within the Streets and Highways Bond Fund, to authorize the Director of Public Service to enter into a contract with Shelley and Sands for the miscellaneous developments American Addition Infrastructure Phase 4 project, to authorize the expenditure of up to $5,588,053.64 from the Streets and Highway Bonds Fund, and to declare an emergency. So this will be the 4th and final phase of this project, which involves a reconstruction of 4 streets and 3 alleys within the American Addition subdivision. Improvements we'll include new sidewalks, landscaping, storm sewer systems, water lines, sanitary sewer service stubs, street lighting, and traffic control devices. Assistant Director, is there anything else that you want to add about this project? Unfortunately, I do not have a visual for this one, but.
No, I do not. Thank you.
No, but anything else? No. So we're excited because this is part of a much larger project that was going into American Addition. So this is the final phase, I believe, of the project, completing the improvements. Yes?
Yes, that is correct. Yes.
Great. Do my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Second.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, favor Remy, President Harden.
Pass.
Thank you. And finally, in public service today, we have ordinance 2865, 2023, to authorize the Director of Finance and Management to enter into contracts with ODRA LLC for the purchase of 5 non-CDL 4-wheel mechanical street sweepers for the Department of Public Service to authorize an expenditure of up to $1,225,700 and to declare an emergency. So these are for 5 street sweepers that will be replacing current ones that have outlived their use of service. Do my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Second.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, favor, Remy. President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you. Can I move along to Senior, Veterans, and Disability Affairs?
Please.
Thank you. I have one ordinance today, and that is 2707-2023 to authorize a supplemental appropriation in the amount of $13,922,988 and any additional funds or grant awards to the Recreation and Parks Grant Fund for the operation of various grant programs administered by the Central Ohio Area Agency on Aging, and to authorize the city auditor to transfer appropriations between object classes for the Ohio Department of Aging, Franklin County Office on Aging, Aging Programs, and to declare an emergency. This legislation is to appropriate supplemental grant funds from the Ohio Department on Aging and Franklin County Office on Aging and administer by the Central Ohio Agency on various services for the balance of 2023 and 2024. And this is ordinance for continued programming in senior community services, which includes programming such as actually, this is incorrect. I'm going to go from here to hand actually this over. Nope, I'm correct. Sorry, y'all. This is my computer. I blame it on that and not me. This ordinance for the continued programming in senior community services, which includes congruent home delivery meals, adult daycare, medical assessments, personal care, home repair, and case management. Do my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Second.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, favor, Remy. President Harden.
Passed.
And then finally finally in Senior, Veteran, and Disability Affairs, I have ordinance 2997-2023 to authorize the city clerk to enter into a grant agreement with Voice Corps Reading Service in support of their free reading services to authorize an appropriation expenditure of $80,000 within the Neighborhood Initiative Subfund and to declare an emergency. Voice Corps Reading Service has provided free reading services to Columbus residents and has been supported by the city for doing so for 45 years. Voice Corps' mission has been to give those whose medical condition prevents them from using print have access to the news and media by using broadcasts and internet streams. I'm excited to co-sponsor this with my colleague, Councilmember Brown, and I would like to turn it over to you now, Councilmember.
Thank you, Councilmember Barosa de Padilla. May I have Mark Dividend please come down to the podium? As Chair de Padilla mentioned, I have been a big supporter of Voice Corps, the work that they make news and information more accessible to the impaired community of the city of Columbus. Their effort to present blind and visually challenged residents in our city with ways to engage in today's news and information, and especially of note to our residents who are veterans, is truly commendable. Many of our impacted residents suffer from social isolation, and Voice Corps' platform of reading printed news and other information to residents provides people with a way to connect to local and sometimes national issues. I encourage everyone to consider volunteering your time with Voice Corps to read the newspaper and print media over the air. I'm sure Mark and his team would appreciate the community's involvement. With that, Mr. Dividend, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Councilman Brown and Barosa de Padilla, and President Harden and the other council members, most of whom I've met or you've been on the station with us from time to time, so I appreciate everything you've done for us over the years. Yes, Voice Corps is supported by the city, and I believe it might even be 48 years. The city actually gave $100,000 in 1975 to buy the first group of radios that were then distributed. These were private closed-circuit radios. Since then, we've changed a lot of things over the years, but our 200 volunteers read 168 hours worth of programming every week, every day of the year, Christmas morning, New Year's morning, Thanksgiving morning, we have volunteers there reading the Columbus Dispatch, Wall Street Journal, if it happens to be a weekday, and other regularly published newspapers, as well as any kind of magazine and probably every book that you could imagine, as long as it's a good one. But we have over the years gone from the little portable radios to speaker phones, on demand, Alexas, which we also provide in groups of usually 10 to rest homes and assisted facilities around the area, which have become very popular for those that don't have a radio to fool with. But one of the greatest things, and I'm really proud to say that with the cooperation and participation, the partnership with WOSU Television, Channel 34.7, any television in Columbus or the Central Ohio area can receive. So we no longer have to fool with a radio. People that can't afford or don't want internet can, and everybody has a television, bar none. Just turn on their television, and WOSU's made it possible for us to be on the air, and people can go directly to what we do. So we're very pleased that we've done that, and we really appreciate the support that we've received. Some of the things that we're going to do this coming year is to create a program, regular programs on an initiative to decrease loneliness and isolation, which has become a serious problem. We all were aware of that during the COVID years. And, it continues to be that kind of problem. We're doing that through regular programming as well as live public affairs programs that are specially tailored to a low vision kind of audience, as well as on the air monthly meetings of the association or the National Federation of the Blind and the American Council of the Blind. And I also must say that we have a lot of involvement with the veterans hospitals in the area. We serve not only folks that are blind and low vision, but there are a lot of people that can't handle reading for one other reason, or other reasons that include dyslexia, or the inability to turn a page, or to even hold a piece of printed material, or hold it steadily so that they can read it. Mm-hmm. So we're involved with lots of initiatives that go beyond just the blind. So again, I thank you very much for the opportunity to be here. I would love for you to make contact with us at any time. Come down, learn more of what we do. Let us show you what kind of impact that Voice Corps has actually been making these last 48 years on the community, and we're looking forward to the 50th year coming up in just a couple of years. If there are any questions, I'd answer them. If not, call me.
Love it.
Mark, thank you very, very much. I must admit, I've volunteered and spoken at Voice Corps many, many times, and I encourage all of my council colleagues to take some time and go visit Voice Corps and offer up their expertise to communicate to the visually impaired. So with that, I'll throw it back to Carlos Dipadilla.
Thank you, Councilmember. And I also wanted to say thank you because I think a number of us had an opportunity, I believe last year, to come in. I was a sportscaster. I'm not sure you want to do that again, but it was a great experience. And I think that's so important as we work with our senior community that they are big fans of Voice Corps. And it's another opportunity to ensure that we are making sure that folks are feeling included, that they are getting the information that they need, and that they're staying up to date and feeling connected with a larger community. So thank you for all of the work that you do. And we're so proud to support Voice Corps. Do my colleagues have any other questions or comments? Not, I move for passage.
Second.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, favor Remy, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you so much. And Council President, I do need to go back to make one correction.
Sure.
As soon as, so I did miss one ordinance in public service. So I'm going to go back to that. So it's ordinance 2684, 2023, to authorize the city attorney to file complaints in order to immediately appropriate and accept the remaining fees, simple and lesser, of real estate necessary to timely complete the arterial street rehabilitation, East Broad Street, widening Phase 1 project, to authorize an expenditure of $1,429.26 and to, or I'm sorry, 0 cents, and to declare an emergency. So this is the first phase of a major widening project to construction new through and turn lanes of various configurations in the East Broad Street corridor from the east side of the I-270 exchange to the intersection of East Broad Street and Reynoldsburg New Albany Road. The city's acquisition of the real estate will help make, improve, or repair certain portions of the public right-of-way of East Broad Street, again, on the I-270 outer belt, which will be open to the public without charge. Do my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Second.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, favor, Remy, President Harden.
Pass.
Thank you, and that is all from me this evening.
Thank
Mr.
you,
President.
Madam Chair. The next committee to come before council is the Recreation and Parks Committee, chaired by Councilmember Brown. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. Tonight I have ordinance 2563 to authorize the Director of Recreation and Parks to enter a contract with Elford Inc. for the 11511 Alum Industrial Interior Improvements Project. Authorize the transfer of $1,542,378 within the Recreation and Parks voted bond fund to authorize the amendment of the 2023 capital improvements budget and to authorize the expenditure of $1,543,378 from the Recreation and Parks voted bond fund. The Recreation Parks Department Operations and Maintenance Division is headquartered at 1533 Alum Industrial Drive and has expanded into an annex at the adjacent 1511 Alum Industrial Drive warehouse facility. This annex was improved from 2017 to 2021 with the installation of new motorized exterior garage doors, electrical equipment, and lights. In order to house additional operations and maintenance employees, the interior space of the facility requires renovations to accommodate the proposed offices. 2 bids were received, and Elford Inc. was the lowest and most responsive bidder. It also should be noted that Elford Inc. is subcontracting with 2 business minority vendors, Pomel Construction MBE and Anderson Decorating MBE, and 1 WBE vendor, King Business Interiors. If there are no questions from my colleagues, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, favor, Remy, President Harden.
Pass.
If I may, Council President, may I move on to education?
Please.
Thank you, sir. There are 3 ordinances in education and second reading for this evening that highlight the Columbus Promise Program, a program that's been spearheaded by our Council President, and I will now kick it over to Council President to speak on these issues. Council President?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I appreciate your partnership on bringing these ordinance forward. We announced the Columbus Promise nearly 2 years ago to the day, and I've been so proud of the progress that we as a community have made. For those who don't know, the Columbus Promise is a public-private partnership between the city, Columbus City Schools, Columbus State Community College, I Know I Can, and the Columbus Foundation. The public sector split the cost with over 25 Columbus companies and donors who have contributed thus far. Promise scholars get tuition and fees covered. They get a stipend for books and transportation, benefit from special wraparound support, and get access to paid internships at local companies. This program is about workforce competitiveness, raising the educational attainment of our residents so we can secure jobs of the future. But it's also about social mobility, closing the racial gaps in educational attainment so that all can benefit from our city's success. I've been so impressed and so moved by the stories of the Columbus Promise by Promise scholars that I've heard over the years. We have contracted with experts to do the third-party evaluation of the program, but we know that it is having major impacts on college enrollment. We've seen big boost in FAFSA completion in college enrollment this fall. The second cohort enrolled, and it is as big and diverse as the first cohort. About 700 students, more than twice as many used to enroll before the program, and over 70% are low-income students of color. When we first announced the promise, we said that it was a 3-year pilot. And what I want everyone to know is that we've heard loud and clear from community members, from parents, from the scholars, that the program needs to continue and to expand. And so we're working with our partners to see how we can continue to keep our promise to our young people and truthfully thus keep the promise to us. Because this investment from the city, from the private sectors, I really do believe we will all reap the benefit. When we look at who is or what fields our young people are choosing to study, they're choosing healthcare, they're choosing science and math, they're choosing construction trades, and we know that those are fields that that desperately need trained, qualified folks. And as good as we are in bringing folks from other communities to come in and get jobs, we have to invest in our young people right here. The Columbus Promise does that. It's something that I'm so, so proud of. So we've got some folks with us today from Promise Coalition that makes all this possible. I'm going to ask my good friend Katina Fullen from I Know I Can to come forward. Also, Cynthia DeVise from Columbus State and Todd Walker from Columbus City Schools to come and introduce themselves and talk about our collective partnership to provide this promise to our community. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight about this incredible initiative. But first, let me just express my gratitude to Council President Hardin and to each of you, not only for your support of Promise, but just for the work you do each and every day that benefits the people who live and work in this incredible city that I am so proud to call my home. We all know that Columbus Promise exists because of someone sitting right over there. It was the big dreams and the hard work early on, pre-pandemic and during the pandemic, that really brings us here tonight. And here we stand, year 3 of a 3-year pilot, and we are ready to keep this moving forward for the benefit of our students and really not only our community, but our workforce, because we know how important it is to get these students prepared and in the talent pipeline. As a representative, I Know I Can, we are just so grateful for this partnership. It's a dream team and also ties to the mission of I Know I Can. Since 1988, which means it's our 35th year, we have worked in partnership with Columbus City Schools to provide equitable access to the knowledge, information, and resources our students need to really create robust post-secondary plans for success after high school. And now we have this incredible commitment, the Columbus Promise, to add to our toolkit as we're advising students. You'll hear from our partners tonight, Columbus Promise partners, but let me start off by sharing some important information and some exciting highlights over the past 2 years. Number one, and most important, we are seeing an increase in our college-going rates in Columbus City Schools. You know that we took a hard hit with the disruption of education during the pandemic. We started to see some improvements, but Columbus Promise was really what we needed to get things moving. And so we are seeing increases in enrollment. If you look pre-Promise, we had 313 Columbus City School students enroll at Columbus State in 2021. We were nearly at 700 in 2022, and we are excited to say that we are over 700. As of tonight, we just left a meeting with Columbus State. We are at 718 students who are currently Promise Scholars. So I think that deserves a little round of applause. Sorry.
No, you're good.
That was my fault. So we have more students enrolling. We have a large number of students taking advantage of Promise. And not only is this about Columbus Promise and the students going to Columbus State, but this is really around the hype around college going in general. So Promise has allowed us to really get students more excited and focused on post-secondary planning. We're seeing an increase in our FAFSA completion. How many of you remember completing a FAFSA when you were trying to go to college, right? So in 2022, we had a 36% increase in FAFSA completion. That was our first year of Promise, and we continue to see an increase in those students who are completing that form. We also are seeing more students think about their careers and tying their interests to the career fields at Columbus State, and that was part of our conversation earlier today, is how do we really start targeting those career fields that we know are so important to our community and getting students more excited earlier on about the possibilities of high demand, high wage jobs when they graduate from high school. And let's remember, this is only year 3 of this pilot, and we have so much more work to do. We've learned a ton, but I just wanted an opportunity to say thank you on behalf of I Know I Can staff and board and the students we serve for being a part of, allowing us to be a part of this and providing the funding we need to do our jobs. I'm going to introduce Cynthia is next from Columbus State, and she's going to share a few stats with you as well.
Thank you. So greetings. I appreciate you inviting us to share an update in regards to our Columbus Promise Scholars at Columbus State Community College. My name is Cynthia DeVise, and so I just say thank you very much to President Hardin and all of our city council members. So thank you very much for having us here and also for just trusting us to do a great job with Columbus Promise Scholars. So of course I represent Columbus State Community College on behalf of our president, Dr. Harrison. I'd just like to say thank you for the support of Columbus Promise. And with that support, it has allowed us to provide wraparound services for those students who come to Columbus State. We have 7 Columbus Promise advisors who provide holistic advising for our students. And holistic means that whatever our students need, they have one point of contact where they're going to for that support. And then if they need additional support, then they're getting a warm, gentle handoff to the next person. So we provide that support around academics, making sure that if they need a tutor, if they need help with wellness, if they need help with food or shelter or whatever it is that they need, our Columbus Promise advisors are knowledgeable about the resources that we provide at Columbus State so that we can help our students so that they can continue to matriculate through our college and whatever program that they need. So in order to help support our students in regards to workforce and understanding their academics, our Columbus Promise advisors have centered their knowledge around career communities. So you normally probably hear of a student having a certain major or academic major, and so we have divided our Columbus Promise advisors into career communities so that when our student is interested in business, if they're interested in manufacturing and engineering, then they have one advisor that they go to for all that information. And so we found out through our connection with Upjohn Institute what is best for this type of program. And so we've been able to kind of modify things in year 2 with our students so that we can get it right. The other thing that I want to share is that we're working really closely with Workforce and Development of Central Ohio and our Workforce Advisory Council to make sure that we have connections with all the business entities here within the city. We have so much support from our city businesses, and they're looking forward to working with our students. And so we have a Columbus Promise Earn and Learn program that allows our students to connect with the business opportunities here in Central Ohio, and they're able to get internships right away. So with our Columbus Promise Earn and Learn program, our students are able in their first year be able to get that training that they need to go into the workforce, but they're also able to get their resume done, and they're able to get that coaching that they need to go into the workforce. And then by the summer of their first year, then they're into that internship with those community businesses. So we've seen a uptick in students in their interest because they're looking for getting those jobs, and the jobs are paying quite well, plus $20+ an hour. So it's really nice, and our students are just, they're loving that. I'm loving it for them too. The other thing that I want to share is this year we had the opportunity to work with CODA to get our students bus passes. So we had a need for transportation, and through City Council and the connections, we were able to get every student in Columbus Promise a bus pass. And that went over so well that students were just so appreciative. So thank you for that connection and the opportunity to do that for our students. Yes. So I just wanted to share that we are working really hard to make sure we meet students where they are, to make sure they get the support that they need, not only academically, but also in wellness, Also, just understanding college going, and it has been working out really well. So I just want to be able to give that update and let you know that we appreciate it and that the students they're just really kind of tickled by the opportunity of just having so much support. But I think it is benefiting our students very well. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So good evening,
Yes.
President Harden, Chair Brown, and members of Columbus City Council. Always good to be with you, President Harden, and I echo the sentiments to Councilwoman Favor of a very happy birthday. And particularly on this day, our hope for you is Ann B. Walker, impact and longevity.
Yeah.
So greetings on behalf of Dr. Andrea Chapman, Superintendent, CEO of Columbus City Schools. My name is Todd Walker, and I serve as the Chief Curriculum and Instruction Officer for Columbus City Schools. Columbus City Schools is grateful for the promise, and it's grateful to the City of Columbus. I Know I Can and Columbus State Community College and our many business partners who continue to make this promise and the promise of college a reality for so many of our CCS graduates. We know that access and exposure are often the change agent in the trajectory of a young person's life. And we understand that education, even more so nowadays, is a civil right. We're appreciative of our partnership with I Know I Can since 1988, as Katina mentioned, providing quality college access to our students, college access managers in our buildings, and supporting students and families. Next week at Columbus State Community College, visits will begin with CCS high schools throughout the 2024 year. We're looking forward to hosting Columbus Promise events in each CCS high school, beginning in January to celebrate the upcoming third cohort of students beginning in the fall of 2024. We applaud City Council for your commitment to CCS students and for providing evaluation of the program from the Upjohn Institute to ensure that we are effectively measuring the success of the Columbus Promise. And we are proud of the increased FAFSA completion numbers in 2021, 22, and in 2022-23, which is a direct result of the Columbus Promise. Our thanks to Columbus State Community College for being a valued post-secondary partner and providing support for our students during the transition from high school to college. Our thanks to I Know I Can for your partnership. And thank you to this council and to the City of Columbus for believing in the students of Columbus City Schools. Thank you.
Thank you to each of you. I mean, this is like the most Columbus Way story ever. As exciting as the outcomes that we have, or as important or significant as the outcomes, is the story of the partnerships between these institutions. We didn't create a new entity. We just came together and we meet and we share information. We pool resources and we put folks first. I Know I Can made this so successful because of that 35 years being in the schools. We were able to just add to that because they had relationships with the school districts. They were in there. They knew the students. Columbus City Schools opened up the building, provided so much access to our young people, and has been an integral partner. And I mean, Columbus State, they every time we said, well, can you do this? They said, yeah, bring it on. And gave another $1 million to this effort. And then the private sector, for every dollar, we're talking about $1.3 million tonight. Every dollar the city has put into this program has been matched or more by the private sector, putting resources in. So this is a Columbus Way story, talking about how we lift up our young people. And a reminder, again, that this is helping all Columbus. 70% of the folks taking advantage of this program are young people of color in our community. And this is so important that everybody in our city knows that the successes that they're seeing in some places are for everybody, for them. And at the end of the day, we will all benefit from this. So I'm just really grateful for the partnership. And with that, I'll turn it back over to my partner, Councilmember Mitch Brown. Thank you.
Thank you, Council President. Again, I think also when you talk about private-public partnerships, the value of that to the community. It shows that everybody's working to solve the problem. And when you address the issues, what we're talking about today with crime, The best way to deal with that is an educated individual with a job.
Yep.
That's the best way to solve the problem, not incarceration. With that, Council President, I'll go forward these three pieces of legislation. Tonight, I have ordinance 2783, 2023, to authorize the Director of the Office of Education to enter into a contract with Elevate Advocacy, LLC, to provide program management services in support of the Columbus Promise Program, to authorize an appropriation and expenditure within the Job Growth Subfund, and to declare an emergency. If there are no questions from my colleagues, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, favor, Remy, President Harden.
Passed.
Also, I have ordinance 2905, 2023, to authorize the Director of Office of Education to enter into a not-for-profit service contract with the W.E. Upjohn Unemployment Trustee Corporation for the evaluation of the Columbus Promise Program, to authorize an appropriation and expenditure of up to $1 million within the Job Growth Subfund, and to declare an emergency. Again, if there are no questions from my colleagues, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, favor, Remy, President Harden.
Also, I have ordinance 2991, 2023, to authorize the Director of the Office of Education to enter a not-for-profit service contract with I Know I Can in support of the Columbus Promise Program, to authorize an appropriation and expenditure within the Job Growth Subfund of up to $1,200,000, and to declare an emergency. And again, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, favor, Remy, President Harden.
Passed.
That's all I have this evening, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. The next committee to come before council is the Public Utilities Committee, chaired by President Pro Tem. President Pro Tem, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President. Tonight in Public Utilities Committee, we have ordinance 2769-2023 to authorize the Director of Finance and Management to enter a construction contract with CTOS LLC, DBA Custom Truck One Source, the purchase of 3 bucket trucks for the Division of Power, to authorize waiver of competitive bidding requirements of Columbus City Code, to authorize the expenditure of $673,980 from the Division of Electricity Operating Fund, and declare an emergency. The Department of Public Utilities is requesting this legislation be considered for immediate action to avoid interruption of city services due to the Division of Power not having enough functional vehicles to fulfill daily operations with this type of truck. Do any of my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, favor, Remy, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you, Council President. So all I have in my committees at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Next committee coming before council is the Housing Committee, chaired by Councilmember Favor. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President Harden. Tonight, we have ordinance 2808-2023 to authorize the Director of the Department of Development to accept and execute a reimbursable grant up to $1,424,543 from the Ohio Department of Health, to authorize the appropriation and expenditure up to $1,176,500 for the Department of Development and the General Government Grant Fund, to authorize the Director of the Department of Development to execute a grant agreements with homeowners for grant amounts greater than $5,000, and to approve purchase orders with selected contractors if the purchase order is greater than $50,000, and to modify a grant agreement without having to return to City Council for each project, to authorize the appropriation and expenditure up to $248,043 for the Columbus Public Health and the General Government Grant Fund, to authorize the expenditure of all funds effective the start date of the grant, and to declare an emergency. This grant money, which will be utilized by the Department of Development and Columbus Public Health, will enable the department to continue current efforts to create lead-safe housing in high-risk zip codes by conducting renovations on windows, doors, and porches in homes built before 1978. These grant funds may be used in conjunction with the other Division of Housing Program funds to address both interior and exterior lead issues. These grant funds will also be used to to fund training for aspiring contractors to receive their restoration, repair, and painting certification, thereby increasing the number of small to medium-sized contractors who can perform local lead hazard control efforts. Further, grant funds will also be used by Columbus Public Health to increase knowledge of medical practices like blood lead testing, to better care for individuals in the community who might be affected by lead contamination. We know that lead contamination is a very serious issue within our community, impacting the health of people across our city, especially our Black and brown neighborhoods. Lead poisoning has been directly linked to developmental disabilities within our youth, with symptoms even severe as seizures, infertility, and irreversible kidney and/or liver damage. This program is one avenue for the city to pursue health justice for neighborhoods traditionally left behind in our health care and prevention fields. And given the serious nature of the problem, this legislation has been submitted as emergency to allow for the execution of the grant agreement and the appropriation and expenditure of funds so that the funds can be encumbered and expended within the term grant agreement. Are there any questions or comments by my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage. Oh, my apologies. We have Nate Wilkins here. My apologies, Nate Wilkins here. Welcome back to council.
Arlington Avenue, Mr. Lieutenant George Wilkins. I'm going to be speaking in favor of this, and only the reason why I would love to see more money for this, possibly $3.8 million. And that's because we have all these older homes that still sits with lead base. Some has been vacant for many, many years. Some of these properties are in poor areas, poor districts, whatever I can call them. As today, as we stand here, going to pass this ordinance, like I said again, I'm going to see up to $3.8 million. To move away from $5,000 to up to $17,075. When we talk about older homes, some of these old homes, the property owners had walked away, let them sit to rot, fall down. This is in the case of the property behind me was built before 1900s, and it still sits vacant and abandonment to this day as of eyesore. The property can be rehabbed and restored, but to put these people back in these older homes was built, we're going to refurbish these homes where they can get lower production on subsidized rent. So again, this is the property that I'm talking about here today. As it still sits behind my house, this is a hidden gem and jewel. So when we are talking about this kind of money, I would like to see $3.5 million to be renovated in a community that you have residents that sits around this property like myself. And so again, I'm all for this, but we want to have this in place for more than 75, 76 years. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your continued advocacy, Mr. Wilkins. Next, we have Reverend Ashe. Welcome back to council.
Giving honor to God, Council President Harden, all city council members. I'm Minister Kajanga Eli Ashe. I live at 1119 East 16th Avenue, Columbus, Ohio, 43211. This is Charles. Tell them your name and your address, please.
Charles Chubb, 957 East 12th Avenue, Columbus, Ohio, 43211.
Are you a registered voter?
Yes, I am.
Okay, tell them your name.
I'm Linnea Shea. I live at 1119 East 16th Avenue, and I am a registered voter.
Yes. I'm here representing Mobile, the Mid-Ohio Board for an Independent Living Environment tonight. I'm the chaplain for the Baptist Ministerial Alliance, all of you know me, but I'm representing Mobile. Dr. Christian was our director. Yeah. Yolanda Bolden is our new executive director because Dr. Christian went to Sable Islands. I'm here, Mr. Stevens wants this passed, and I think it's a good ordinance, and I'm for it. I would like to put myself down as for the ordinance. At the same time, I'd like to see Mr. Charles Chubb's his home be repaired. He's been waiting 3 years. He got a denial letter from Mr. Tillman, Rita Breeze, but his house is getting worse and worse. He's a senior citizen and disabled on SSI. So I'd like to see those kinds of monies more of the monies go to these kinds of programs for the home repair, critical home repairs. At the same time, my wife, Linnea Shea, she's good for the program. She teaches people about health and teaches blind people even how to draw. She drew this picture of Barack Obama shaking hands with President Abraham Lincoln. This one went to the White House. I thought I'd come and bring kind of show and tell so everybody could see it. This went to the White House, and it's a famous painting, 2010. And she's an excellent candidate for some of those programs that Mr. Stevens has. But the problem is that the regulations are, some of them are so tight. When Michelle Mills was here, you got $120,000 to fix houses. Now it's down to $45,000. So we need some more monies for this gentleman's house. He's been waiting 3 years. She's trying to get a reverse mortgage on her home. She has the credit for it, I don't, but she's doing that. She can't get it because of the $4,700 lien she still has on the home that Rita Paris had us put on there back in 2012. But the whole idea is that the rules just need to be relaxed just a little bit. I've been here a long time. This may be my last time at City Council. 50 years ago, we was out there with Les Brown and Reverend Bill Moss, and he passed away. And we were out there trying to get a civilian review board. Well, we got that. That's half a century ago. Mr. Brown knows about that. People's afros were catching on fires because they had lighters. We had a candlelight vigil. I've been here, we tried to get the cameras and all that stuff. So for half a century, I've been down here at City Council. I'm trying to help people that I know and that I love. I knock on doors and pass out flyers to 700 houses in South Linden. If I can't help these two people that I know, they're not going to believe me. So it's an election, we're voting, and we'd like to support Mr. Stevens in this effort, what he's doing. But Mr. Shuney, sometimes he would kind of bend the rules a little bit to let folks in. But Mr. Stevens is a little bit more hard-nosed. But Rita Paris has been doing a great job. So I'm here to say I support it, and I would hope that people would get involved with City Council more. I also am the peace ambassador to the United Nations. I usually come to the UN once a year, and I have the answer for you from heaven for your Palestinian-Israeli problem locally. I have the answer. But you got to come to my house and knock on my door for that, because that's a whole other conversation. So City Council, I thank you. Nick Bankston, the Housing Trust, we gave him the idea. Housing Trust, you can't get on the Housing Trust now, can you? So all those things, the One Linden Plan comes out of us. All of that. So we're thankful that you take these ideas and run with them, but at the same time, a lot of the seniors need help, and we're down here to try and get some help. So God bless you. Thank you for your time. Don't have to answer us now. We'll see what you do. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Reverend Ashe, for your continued advocacy. Thank you for your continued advocacy and work in serving all residents in our community. Director Stevens?
Thank you, President Hardin, Chair Favor, members of council. We'll continue to work with Reverend Ashe, Mr. Chubbs on his home. We are obviously concerned about the deteriorating condition of that, and how we can work with him to make sure he's in a safe living environment is going to be critical. So we'll continue to do that.
Thank you. Are there any additional questions or comments at this time?
Chair
Yes,
Favor.
Councilmember Brown.
Yes, thank you, Councilmember Brown. We will also work with Mrs. Ashe on her request to waive the lien. Earlier this year, council passed a policy on lien forgiveness. It's a 10-year process before you're eligible for that. They still have a couple years on that, but we'll work with them on that as well. Thank you.
Thank you. And I know that the department has been working with Reverend Ashe at least for the last 2 years or so to try to connect him to resources. And as he did indicate, there does appear to be some red tape that is a little challenging to navigate, but just wanted to uplift the department. They have not ignored Reverend Ashe, just trying to connect him to the right resource. Is that a fair statement? Okay. Any additional questions or comments at this time? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, favor, Remy, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Is there a motion to recess? Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, favor, Remy, President Harden.
We'll reconvene for zoning in 5 minutes.
Brown, Dorans, favor, Remy. President Harden.
Can I get a motion to dispense with the reading of the journal? Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, favor, Remy. President Harden.
Are there any additions or corrections to the journal? Hearing none, the journal is approved. We'll now go to the zoning committee. All members serve on that committee. Councilmember Dorrance chairs that committee. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Harden. Before we begin tonight's zoning agenda, first a little bit of housekeeping. Will the clerk please read the numbers of the legislation zoning committee this evening that require waiver of second reading?
2912-2023, 2879, 2892, 2908, 2909, 2911, and 2913-2023.
Thank you, clerk. I now move to waive second reading on those items listed.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, favor, Remy. President Harden.
Thank you. Before we move on, allow me to briefly explain our current rules pertaining to speaking before council on rezonings and variances. We only hear staff presentation for ordinances that have a disapproval from a recommending body, or if we have a public speaker signed up to speak against an ordinance. Tonight, we did not receive any public speaker slips in the zoning committee, and I'm happy to report that all ordinances have approvals from recommending bodies. All speakers on council variance, including city staff, area commissioners, applicants, and members of the public, will be sworn in before they give testimony. Representative of an area commission, applicants are always able to speak on an ordinance and do not need to fill out a speaker slip. On the advice of the city attorney's office, I will now swear in city staff. Please stand and raise your right hand and be sworn in. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth and nothing but the truth, as you shall answer in pains or penalty of perjury? If so, please say I do. I do. Thank you. Please let the record reflect that Joseph Rose, the Department of Building and Zoning Services, has been sworn in. First, we have ordinance 2912-2023 to rezone 363 North Eureka Avenue, being 2.27 plus acres located on the west side of North Eureka Avenue, 180 plus feet north of Westwood Drive, from R Rural District to LM2 Limited Manufacturing District. The requested rezoning will allow the site to be developed with 6,000 square feet of warehouse use, 720 square feet of office use and associated storage. The applicant's proposal provides sidewalks along North Eureka Avenue, connecting Camp Chase Trail, preserving existing trees along the site frontage, and includes screening from adjacent residential uses, all consistent with C2P2 design guidelines. Project has full approvals from City Staff, Development Commission, and Greater Hilltop Area Commission. Do any of my colleagues have questions or comments? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, favor, Remy. President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you. Now we move into the variance portions of the committee this evening. We have ordinance 2879-2023 to grant a variance provisions of section 3332.38H. Private garages, 3332.38F, private garages, 3332.38G, private garages of the Columbus City Codes for property located at 170 Chatham Road to allow habitable space on the second floor of a detached garage, reduce development standards in the R3 residential district. A council variance is required because the applicant is requesting a habitable space above a detached garage that is not directly connected to a habitable space in the existing dwelling. The proposal has approvals from both city staff and Clintonville Area Commission. Do my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I first move to accept the entire staff report into evidence as an exhibit.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, favor, Remy. President Harden.
Accept it.
Thank you. I next move to adopt the findings of staff as the findings of council.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, favor, Remy. President Harden.
Adopt it.
Thank you. And finally, move for passage.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, favor, Remy. President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you. Next, we have ordinance 2892-2023 to grant variance provisions of section 3332.033, R2 residential district, 3332.26B, minimum side yard permitted, and 3332.27 rear yard of the Columbus City Codes for property located at 880 Clarendon Avenue to allow a two-unit dwelling with on one lot with reduced development standards in the R2 residential district. The site currently consists of a single-unit dwelling with attached garage on the property that's comprised of two lots that have been combined into one parcel. The requested council variance will allow the applicant to add a second dwelling unit above a detached garage, better known as a carriage house. Variances to reduce the minimum side yard and rear yards are also included in this request. Proposal has the approval of city staff and the Greater Hilltop Area Commission. Do I have my colleagues some questions or comments? Seeing none, I move to accept the entire staff report into evidence as an exhibit.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, favor, Remy. President Harden.
Accept it.
Thank you. I next move to adopt the findings of staff as the findings of council.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, favor, Remy. President Harden.
Adopt it.
And finally, move for passage.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, favor, Remy. President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you. Next, we have ordinance 2908-2023 to grant variance provisions of section 3332.039 R4 residential districts, 3312.49 minimum number of parking spaces required, 3321.05 vision clearance, 3332.05 A4 area district lot width requirements, 3332.15 R4 area district requirements, and 3332.27 rear yard at the Columbus City Codes for property located at 551 Cybert Street to allow a 2-unit dwelling unit on a 1 lot with reduced development standards in the R4 residential district. The applicant is Healthy Linden Homes, is requesting council variance to allow 2 single-unit dwellings on 1 lot at this location. Variances reduce lot width, lot area, rear yard, and require parking and vision clearance are included in this request. Proposal has both approvals from city staff and the Columbus Southside Area Commission. Do my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I first move to accept the entire staff report into evidence as an exhibit.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorance, favor, Remy, President Harden.
Accept it.
Thank you. I next move to adopt the findings of staff as the findings of council.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorance, favor, Remy, President Harden.
Adopt it.
Thank you. And finally, move for passage.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorance, favor, Remy, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you. Next, we have ordinance 2909-2023 to grant a variance provisions of section 3332.38H, private garages, 3332.27 rear yard of the and 3332.38FG, private garage at the Columbus City Codes for property located at 1325 Mulder Road to allow a habitable space above the attached garage with reduced development standards in the R2 residential district. The applicant requests a council variance to allow a habitable space above the attached garage. Council variance is necessary because the building code only permits a habitable space above a garage when connected directly to a habitable space in a dwelling. The request includes variances to rear yard and garage side and height. The proposal has the approval of city staff and the Columbus Southside Area Commission. Do my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I first move to accept the entire staff report into evidence as an exhibit.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorance, favor, Remy, President Harden.
Accept it.
Thank you. I next move to adopt the findings of staff as the findings of council.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorance, favor, Remy, President Harden.
Adopt it.
And finally, move for passage.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorance, favor, Remy, President Harden.
Pass.
Thank you. Next, we have ordinance 2911-2023 to grant a variance of provisions of section 3332.02R rural districts of the Columbus City Codes for the property located at 100 Galloway Road to allow a multi-unit residential development in the R rural district. The applicant is Natural Church Residences, which has requested council variance to allow a multi-unit residential development with up to 150 units. Proposed residential development will be subject to competitive funding by the Ohio Housing Financing Agency, which requires certain land attributes, including compliant zoning. Passage of this ordinance will assist in the state funding application as the property is included in the initial focus of the zoning code update, which envisions higher density residential development along major corridors. The proposal has support from city staff and the Westland Area Commission. Do my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I first move to accept the entire staff report into evidence as an exhibit.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorance, favor, Remy, President Harden.
Accept it.
Thank you. I next move to adopt the findings of staff as the findings of council.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorance, favor, Remy, President Harden.
Adopt it.
And finally, move for passage.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorance, favor, Remy, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you. And finally, we have ordinance 2913-2023 to grant variance provisions of section 3367.01 M2 manufacturing districts, 3367.29B, Sword to Columbus City Codes for property located at 363 North Eureka Avenue to allow a single-unit dwelling with reduced development standards for warehouse and office use in the LM2 Limited Manufacturing District. This is a companion variance for the rezoning ordinance we approved earlier on our agenda that will permit a single-unit dwelling which will act as a buffer between the warehouse and office uses and the existing residential uses on the south of this site. Again, the proposal has the support of both city staff and the Greater Hilltop Area Commission. Do my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I first move to accept the entire staff report into evidence as an exhibit.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorance, favor, Remy, President Harden.
Accept it.
Next, move to adopt the findings of staff as the findings of council.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorance, favor, Remy, President Harden.
Adopt it.
And finally, move for passage.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorance, favor, Remy, President Harden.
Pass.
Thank you, Council President. That's all I have on the zoning committee tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. See no further business coming for the zoning committee. Is there a motion to adjourn? Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, favor, Remy, President Harden.
Adjourn. All right.
Remy, President Harden.
The next committee to come before council is the Public Safety Committee, chaired by Councilmember Remy. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Council President Harden. Tonight I have one ordinance in public safety. It's Ordinance 2389, 2023, to authorize and direct the city auditor to transfer $7,758,280.91 from the Special Income Tax Fund to the Fire Safety Bond Fund, to authorize the appropriation of said funds, to authorize the transfer of $17,097.09 within the safety voted bond fund, to waive the competitive bidding and sale of surplus provisions of the Columbus City Code, Chapter 329, to authorize the Finance and Management Director to enter into contracts with and issue purchase orders to the Suffolk Corporation for the purchase of 5 Monarch custom pumpers in the amount of $5,440,960, and Pierce Manufacturing, Inc. via Atlantic Emergency Solutions for the purchase of 1 Pierce tiller ladder in the amount of $2,350,880 to amend the 2023 capital improvement budget to authorize the expenditure of $7,791,840 from the safety voted bond fund and to declare an emergency. The Division of Fire is in need to purchase 5 of the Sutphen Corporation Monarch custom pumpers to replace apparatus that are beyond their useful life with high maintenance cost. Included with Sutphen Monarch custom pumpers purchase will be the purchase installation of all pertinent equipment to be utilized on the respective vehicles. Likewise, the fire division has a need to replace 1 aerial tiller ladder truck that is beyond its useful life and has high maintenance costs. The retrofit of intercom systems is included in this purchase, which will provide the latest model of decibel reducing headset technology for firefighters in an effort to reduce the occupational hazards faced while operating such emergency apparatus. Director, could you speak to the waiver of competitive bidding on this piece of legislation, please?
Council President Harden, Councilmember Remy, these purchases will be made from the existing state term contract. However, recent changes to bidding requirements cannot be fulfilled in a timely fashion for this custom apparatus, and thus a waiver of bidding is necessary.
Thank you so much, Director. As we can see, these are taking longer and much more expensive than they were pre-COVID. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues this evening? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, favor, Remy, President Harden.
Passed.
And that is all I have in public safety this evening. With your permission, Mr. President, I will move on to environment.
Please.
Tonight, I have ordinance 2694, 2023, to authorize the Director of Finance Management to establish purchase orders and associate relevant purchase agreements with multiple vendors for the purchase of refuse collection containers and parts, to authorize the expenditure of up to $1,350,118.80 from the Refuse Bond Fund for the purchase of these containers and parts, to authorize the purchase of more than $100,000 from an individual universal term contract established for the purchase of refuse containers and parts, and to declare an emergency. The Department of Public Service, Division of Refuse Collection, utilizes 96-gallon, 300-gallon, 8-cubic-yard roll-off containers and other types as needed in its mechanized collection system for residential trash collection. The division also requires replacement parts for containers that are not covered by warranties. The purchasing office has completed bidding or has established universal term contracts for the purchase of these commodities. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues this evening? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, favor, Remy, President Harden.
Passed.
And finally, in environment this evening, of ordinance 2742, 2023, to authorize the Director of the Department of Public Service to modify and extend rental agreements to rent refuse collection trucks from Premier Truck Sales and Rental, Inc., to authorize the expenditure of up to $1 million from the general fund to pay for the modification and extension of said rental agreements, and to declare an emergency. The ordinance authorized the Director of Department of Public Service to modify and extend rental agreements with Premier Truck Sales and Rental in the amount of $1 million for the rental of refuse collection trucks. The Division of Refuse Collection is responsible for providing weekly refuse collection to the 344,000 residential units within the city of Columbus. It is necessary to immediately rent refuse collection trucks to continue to provide timely refuse collection to the residents of Columbus. This will also allow the division to be able to collect refuse during the normal work week and to avoid routinely scheduled mandatory overtime. The rental of these vehicles is expected to be needed for another year, possibly longer, in order to give time for the trucks that have been on order and for the trucks that are about to be ordered to be delivered to the city. An assessment of delivery times of the vehicles on order will be made in the spring of 2024. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, favor, Remy, President Harden.
Passed.
And with that, I have finished in environment. Can I move on to administration, please?
Sure.
Great. I have two ordinances in administration, and the first one is ordinance 2885, 2023, to accept memorandum of understanding 2023-01, executed between representatives of the City of Columbus and the Fraternal Order of Police, Ohio Labor Council, Inc., that grants full-time employees paid family leave for up to 12-week fully compensated benefit for the birth of a child, placement of a child for adoption or foster care, and to care for a covered family member with a serious health condition, and to declare an emergency. I would like to turn it over to Director Brandon to talk about these two pieces, just part of the ongoing continuation of getting our employees under this particular new and exciting policy with the City of Columbus. Director Brandon, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Yes, good evening, President Harden, Chair Remy, and members of council. The ordinances before you for consideration this evening will authorize the city to grant paid family leave to employees in FOP OLC and AFSCME Local 1632. The paid family leave benefit for these employee groups will be effective November the 12th, 2023, confirming the mayor's commitment to equity by providing benefits to employees that promote a healthy work-life balance and ensure that the City of Columbus continues to be an employer of choice. Paid family leave merges and enhances the city's current paid parental and caregiving leave offerings. Effective November 12th, 2023, employees in the FOP OLC and AFSCME Local 1632 groups will be eligible for 12 weeks of paid family leave at 100% of the employee's salary for reasons that include the birth of a child, serious pregnancy-related health complications, placement of a child for adoption or foster care, or to care for a family member with a serious health condition. Paid family leave benefit will support city employees as they choose to either expand their families or maybe care for a family member who's in need. And so all of this is able to happen without the added stress of losing their city job. The city's commitment to an exceptional employee experience is why this benefit is the right thing to do, and we ask for your favorable consideration.
Thank you so much, Director Brandon, and thank you to your team for putting this together. This is certainly a benefit that is deserved by all of our employees, and we look forward to ratifying this along with all the rest of the agreements to make sure that every city employee is covered. So are there any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, favor, Remy, President Harden.
Passed.
And for the final ordinance I have this evening, it's ordinance 2947, 2023, to accept the Memorandum of Understanding 2023-04 executed between representatives of the City of Columbus and with AFSCME Local 1632 that grants full-time employees paid family leave for an up to 12-week fully compensated benefit for the birth of a child, placement of a child, for adoption or foster care, and to care for a covered family member with a serious health condition, and to declare an emergency. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Is there a second? Second. Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, favor, Remy, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you, Council President. That is all I have this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And the final committee to come before council is the Finance Committee, which I chair. Tonight, we have one piece of one ordinance, and that is ordinance 2823-2023. It's to authorize the city treasurer to modify its contract for various banking services with Huntington Merchant Services and Huntington National Bank, and to authorize expenditure of up to $1,340,000 from various funds within the city, and to declare an emergency. This ordinance provides additional resources for the credit card processing services provided by Huntington Merchant Services and Huntington National Bank. Do any of my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I move for passage. Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, favor, Remy, President Harden.
Passed. Seeing no further business coming for the meeting, is there a motion to adjourn? Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, favor, Remy, President Harden.
Meeting is adjourned.